Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going deep, a deep dive into the world of communication.
Ooh, communication.
But specifically, we're looking at the fine line between advising and shaming.
Huh, interesting.
We've got a fascinating text to help guide our exploration today. It's by Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, called Difference Between Advising and Shaming.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali?
You know, the name doesn't ring a bell immediately, but
Yeah.
he was a really prominent Islamic scholar, known for his wisdom, especially his insights into, well, human behavior.
Got it.
So his book, he really digs deep into these communication styles, specifically from an Islamic perspective.
I see. So before we jump into his perspective, for someone who's never really thought about this, the difference between advising and shaming,
Right.
how would you just explain those core concepts?
You know, imagine you're trying to help a friend, and they're stuck in a maze.
Okay.
Advising is like, you're offering them a map, maybe a compass. You're gently guiding them toward the exit, offering support along the way.
Okay, I get it.
But shaming, that's like pushing them further into the maze and then pointing and laughing at their confusion.
Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty vivid image. It really highlights the difference in the intent. Like one is about helping someone get through a tricky situation, but the other one is about making them feel worse.
Exactly. And those different intentions, well, they lead to totally different outcomes.
Right.
Just think about it.
Yeah.
When you receive genuine advice, it's offered with empathy. It encourages you to think, maybe learn something, and actually make positive changes.
Right.
But shaming, well, that just breeds resentment.
Yeah.
It can damage relationships, and people just feel worse about themselves.
For sure.
Which doesn't really, help them grow, does it?
No, not at all. So it seems like shaming is more about putting someone down, but advising is about lifting them up.
You got it.
Yeah.
And, recognizing that difference is so important for just navigating how we interact with other people.
So how do we make sure that we stay in that advising camp
Right.
and avoid the shaming territory? It seems subtle.
It is subtle, and that's why just being self-aware is so important.
Okay.
You have to always check in with ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, what's my intention here?
Right.
Am I actually speaking from a place of concern for the other person? Or am I just trying to make myself feel better or superior?
That's such a good point, because sometimes our helpful advice is really just us trying to, force our opinions or make ourselves feel better.
Exactly. It's like, we're human.
Right.
You want to share our perspectives and offer solutions, but it's so important to be aware of that line between helping and judging.
Yeah.
If you realize that you're not really coming from a place of care for the other person,
Right.
Maybe it's best to hold back on the advice.
Okay, so let's say we've done that. We've checked our egos.
Right.
Our intentions are pure.
Okay.
What's next?
Well, then it's all about delivery. You've got to choose your words carefully.
Right.
Avoid harsh language,
Okay.
accusatory tones,
Gotcha.
or generalizations like you always or you never.
Right.
It's about the behavior, not attacking someone's character.
So instead of saying you were late to the meeting again,
Oh, yeah.
which feels accusatory, maybe you could say, I notice you've been late to a few meetings lately.
Yeah.
Is everything okay?
Perfect. Yeah, the second one shows you care.
Right.
And you're inviting them to explain rather than just blaming them.
And even if we're careful with our words, our tone can totally change the meaning.
Oh, 100%.
Like even you need to be more organized could be helpful or condescending.
Exactly. Tone is everything.
Yeah.
When you're giving advice, aim for a calm and respectful and supportive tone. Imagine you're talking to a friend going through a tough time.
Right.
You wouldn't want to stress them out even more, would you?
No. Oh.
You just want to listen, offer support.
Right. Just be there.
Exactly. And that same approach can be used in almost every situation.
Oh, I see.
It's about empathy and understanding, not judging.
Okay. So I've got our motives checked, our words are good, and our tone is supportive.
Okay. Yeah.
What else?
Well, timing and context are huge.
Oh, right.
You got to choose a time when they're most likely to actually listen. Don't give advice when they're stressed or distracted.
So like 5 minutes before a big presentation is probably not a good time.
No, probably not the best time.
Yeah.
Ideally, they should feel comfortable and safe to open up.
Okay.
Maybe a quiet place, like over coffee or a one-on-one meeting.
And everyone is different too.
Oh, for sure.
Some people like direct communication, others like it more subtle.
Right.
So we need to be sensitive to that.
Exactly. Meet them where they are. respect their boundaries, and make sure they feel understood.
Even with the best intentions, advice isn't always welcome.
That's true.
Sometimes people just aren't ready,
Yeah.
no matter what we say.
And that's okay. We have to respect that and not push our opinions.
Right.
Sometimes they just need to vent, or they're working through it themselves.
Just need someone to listen.
Exactly. Be supportive, not a know-it-all.
Yeah, sometimes just listening is the most powerful thing we can do.
It really is.
Especially when someone's going through a hard time.
Now, remember what Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali said? Advising should be a collaboration.
Right. It's not a lecture.
Not a lecture. It's like offering a map, but not saying which route they have to take.
Okay.
It's about empowering them to make their own choices.
Right.
Even if it's not what we'd advise.
So ask questions like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts, or how do you feel about this?
Exactly. Those little questions can change the whole dynamic.
Yeah.
From lecture to conversation.
Right, where everyone feels valued.
And you get a much deeper understanding working together, not just telling them what to do.
This reminds me that this whole thing, it's bigger than just our words.
It is.
It's how we communicate overall our values, seeing the world through their eyes.
It's recognizing that we can build bridges, help people understand.
This is all so insightful.
Yeah.
I'm curious about, today, technology is such a big part of our lives.
Right.
How do social media and the digital world change this whole advising versus shaming thing?
It's a great question, because this is a timeless problem.
Yeah.
But the digital age has definitely made it more complicated.
Right.
Because on social media, public and private are all mixed up.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just comment or judge without thinking.
And it's anonymous too.
Yeah.
So people might shame others online that they would never do in person.
It's true. It's like the internet can be a breeding ground for negativity.
Right.
But, it can also be amazing for connection and support.
That's true.
Think of all the online groups, mentorships, communities.
Yeah.
People connecting, sharing, encouraging each other.
Mm-hmm.
We can connect with people across the world, share stories.
It's amazing.
It's not about hating technology. It's about using it well.
Yeah.
And ethically.
Remembering there's a real person on the other side.
Exactly.
With their own feelings.
It makes you wonder, how can we use technology to make advising better and reduce the harm?
Such a good question.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That probably deserves its own deep dive.
Yeah, maybe at another time.
But for now, just remember what we've talked about.
Right.
It applies online just as much as offline.
Be intentional with our words. Think about the impact.
Yeah.
Be compassionate.
Even online, our words can build or destroy.
It's about choice.
Exactly.
It feels like it all comes down to being intentional, whether we're advising or just communicating.
It does.
We need to be mindful of the impact.
You hit the nail on the head. Our words are powerful. We have to use them responsibly.
And Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali adds another layer to that.
Right.
It's not just being a good communicator. It's about being a good person.
Absolutely.
Compassionate, humble, sincere.
He reminds us that how we communicate shows who we are inside.
Yeah.
If we're compassionate, our words will be compassionate.
So it starts with us.
It does. It's a beautiful cycle.
It is.
It makes me think about forgiveness.
Okay.
We all mess up sometimes. We might shame others without realizing it.
Yeah.
Or we might be shamed ourselves.
Right. It's part of being human.
And that's where forgiveness is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Giving ourselves and others a break.
Right.
We're all works in progress.
We are.
Let go of that resentment and move forward with compassion.
Create space for growth, see mistakes as chances to learn.
Beautiful.
And this reminds me of what Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali said about the spiritual side of communication.
Yes.
He saw advising as like an act of worship.
It is.
Helping others to get closer to God.
Beautiful perspective.
It's about approaching our conversations as something sacred.
Yeah.
Seeing the divine in everyone.
It changes everything.
It does.
It's not just information, it's about connecting.
Right. Helping each other grow.
Yeah.
Making the world more compassionate.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
As we finish up, what can we do to cultivate that sense of sacredness in all our communication?
That's beautiful.
How can we be more aware, more empathetic, more intentional?
Those are great questions. Keep thinking about them.
Okay.
Pay attention to your intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Choose your words carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Every interaction matters.
This has given me a lot to think about.
It has.
I hope it's inspired you too.
Me too.
To communicate with purpose and compassion.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you next time. So where do we even begin with all this?
It can feel overwhelming,
It does.
but luckily, it's a skill anyone can learn.
Okay.
with practice.
Right.
It all starts with that self-awareness we were talking about. Before giving advice, take a second.
Okay.
Pause. Check your motives.
Got it.
Why am I saying this? Is it actually to help them, or am I trying to fix them, control them, make myself feel smarter?
Because let's be real, sometimes our advice is just us being, well, kind of bossy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We want to help. We want to share what we know, but we got to be careful, not cross that line from helping to judging.
Okay, so our ego's in check.
Right.
Motives are pure.
Okay.
Now what?
Delivery time.
Ah.
Words matter. Be careful with them. No harsh stuff. No blaming tone.
Okay.
None of that you always or you never stuff.
Right, we talked about that.
Focus on what they did, not who they are as a person.
So, like, instead of you were late again, which is like an attack.
Exactly.
Maybe, hey, I noticed you've been late a bit lately.
Yeah, much better.
Is everything all right?
There you go. You're showing concern. Giving them a chance to explain.
But even then, our tone of voice can make you need to be more organized sound mean.
Oh, absolutely. Tone changes everything.
Right.
You got to sound calm, respectful, supportive. Think, if your friend was having a tough time,
Yeah.
you wouldn't yell at them, right?
Of course not.
You'd be gentle, and that's the approach we need.
So motives, words, tone, all good.
Check, check, check.
Anything else?
Timing matters.
Oh, right. Like when and where.
Exactly. Pick a time when they'll actually listen,
Right.
not when they're stressed or busy.
Definitely not 5 minutes before a big presentation then.
Haha, no, not then.
Yeah.
You want them to feel safe, comfortable enough to talk openly.
Okay.
Maybe a quiet chat like over coffee or a one-on-one.
And people are different too.
Oh, they are?
Some like directness, some are more sensitive.
Exactly. Got to adjust to that.
Yeah.
Meet them where they at, respect their boundaries, make sure they feel heard.
This is hard.
It is.
Because sometimes, even with the best intentions, they just don't want advice.
True.
Like they're just not ready.
Yeah. Happens all the time.
And what do we do then?
Respect that. Don't force it on them.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe they just need to vent, or they're figuring it out themselves.
Just need someone there.
Exactly. Be a friend, not a lecturer.
Listening is so powerful.
It really is.
Especially when things are tough.
Now, going back to Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, remember, advising's a team effort.
Right. Not me talking at them.
Not at all. More like,
Yeah.
here's a map, but you choose the path. They get to decide.
Okay.
Even if it's not what you'd pick.
So asking questions helps.
That's
like,
fair.
what are you thinking? Or how does this make you feel?
Exactly. That turns it into a real conversation.
Right. Not just me telling them stuff.
And you understand each other better that way.
And we're working together, not me dictating.
Team effort.
This is all so much bigger than just words, isn't it?
It is. It's about how we communicate overall.
Right. Our values. Seeing things from their side.
We can build connections, understanding.
It really is insightful.
Now, with tech being so big these days,
Yeah, like social media.
how does that change things? This whole advising, shaming dilemma.
Right, because this problem's been around forever.
It has.
But online, it feels different.
Oh, totally different.
Yeah.
Online, it's all public and private, all mixed up.
It is.
Easy to judge without thinking.
And we're anonymous too.
Right, so people might say things they never would in person.
Like, the internet can bring out the worst in us.
Sometimes, it's true.
Yeah.
But it can also be amazing for connecting, supporting each other.
That's true. Like all those online groups, mentorships.
Exactly.
So-
People sharing, encouraging.
Yeah.
We can connect across the world.
Amazing.
It's not about hating technology, it's using it wisely,
Right.
ethically.
Remembering there's a person there.
Exactly.
With feelings.
It makes you wonder, how can we use tech to make advising better, less harmful?
That's a good question.
It is. Deserves its own deep dive.
Another time, maybe.
But for now, remember, what we've said applies everywhere.
Online too.
Yeah, be intentional. Think about the impact.
Be kind.
Words can build up or tear down.
It's our choice.
Exactly.
It all boils down to intention.
It does.
Whether it's advice or anything we say,
Yeah,
we got to be mindful.
absolutely. Our words have power. Use them responsibly.
And Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali reminds us, it's more than just talking well.
Oh, yeah,
It's about who we are.
Exactly.
Compassionate, humble, sincere.
How we communicate shows our heart.
Yeah.
If we're compassionate, our words will be too.
So it starts inside us.
It does. It's a cycle.
It really is.
Makes me think about forgiveness.
Oh, okay.
We'll mess up sometimes. Maybe
Yeah.
shame someone accidentally or get shamed ourselves.
Part of being human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where forgiveness is key.
Right.
Giving ourselves and others a break.
We're all learning.
We are. Let go of that anger. Move on with kindness.
It's about growth, seeing mistakes as lessons.
Beautiful.
Reminds me of what Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali said about the spiritual side of all this.
Right.
He saw advising as like a way to get closer to God.
It is, by serving others.
It's like our conversations are sacred.
They are.
We see the divine in each other.
Changes how we talk.
It does.
It's not just information, it's connection.
Helping each other grow, making the world kinder.
That's
powerful.
It is.
So as we wrap up, how do we live this way? With that sacredness in mind in all our communication?
That's the question, isn't it?
How to be more aware, more empathetic, more intentional.
Keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
Watch your intentions, choose your words with care. Every little chat matters.
This has given me so much to think about.
Me too.
I hope it's inspired you too.
I hope so.
To communicate with purpose and heart.
Yes, that's it.
Thanks for being here, sharing your wisdom.
Your pleasure.
This has been a great deep dive.
It has.
We'll catch you next time. It feels like this whole conversation, it's really shown us just how powerful our words are.
It really has. We've been talking about how even the smallest choices in how we talk, they can really affect the people around us.
Yeah, and it's not just about, avoiding shaming or learning some perfect way to give advice.
Right.
It's something deeper, isn't it?
It is. It's about a whole mindset. How we are in the world.
Right, like with compassion, humility, and really wanting to connect.
And Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, his work is all about that.
It is. He reminds us that communication, it's not just sharing facts.
Not at all.
It's about recognizing, that everyone we talk to, they have value. They deserve respect.
Exactly.
And we approach these conversations like they're sacred almost.
Like a form of worship, he says.
That's beautiful. So how do we actually live that way?
Right. How do we make that real?
In our daily lives.
Well, imagine you're in a situation and you want to give someone advice.
Okay.
Maybe a friend struggling with a choice or a coworker made a mistake. Before you even speak, stop for a second.
That pause is important.
So important. That's where you check yourself.
Right. Before we get judgmental or controlling.
Ask yourself, why am I giving this advice?
Yeah. Is it really for them, or am I trying to fix them, make them do what I want, feel smarter than them?
We got to be honest with ourselves there.
Because sometimes what we call helping is just us being bossy. It's human, but true advising, it comes from humility.
It does.
It's knowing we don't have all the answers, and they have their own path to follow.
Right. So let's say we've done that. Ego's in check.
We're good. Pure intentions.
Okay, now, how do we make sure our message, it feels like a gift, not a burden?
Right. That's the hard part.
Remember what Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali said. Advising is charity, an act of kindness. Come from that place.
Okay.
Words matter. Choose them carefully.
Right. And our tone of voice.
Tone 2. Gentle, respectful, encouraging. Make them feel safe, heard, understood.
It's not the same giving advice one-on-one versus blasting them online.
Oh, huge difference.
Right. Time, place, how they're feeling, it all matters.
Absolutely. Listen to them.
Yeah, ask questions.
Don't just talk at them.
This isn't about us being brilliant. It's about being there with them.
Walking beside them, offering a map, but they choose the road.
It's empowering them, even if we wouldn't pick the same path.
Exactly.
This has been a good reminder. We're all still learning.
We are.
This whole communication thing.
It's a journey.
And it's okay to mess up.
That's how we get better.
So as we finish this deep dive, what's the one thing you hope people take away?
Remember, your words have power. They can build up or they can tear down.
It's a choice.
Choose wisely.
Let's communicate with sincerity, empathy, really wanting to help each other grow.
That's it. Beautifully said.
Thanks for joining us on this journey exploring communication.
It's been my pleasure.
We hope you found it helpful and that you'll take these ideas with you.
Into your relationships, your conversations.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
And keep choosing kindness.
See you on the next episode of The Deep Dive.